Hey guys, what's up? My name is Tom Spark. Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about something interesting. Is ExpressVPN really based in Hong Kong? Now guys, simply in terms of legal reasons, ExpressVPN is based in the British Virgin Islands. But this video is going to be discussing the possibility of them being more headquartered or having a lot of offices in Hong Kong. Just as a kind of precursor here, my intent in this video isn't to slander ExpressVPN or convince you not to use them, but perhaps to provide insight on the company. If ExpressVPN wants to comment down below more insight into how the company operates or where it's headquartered and stuff like this, feel free to do so. Anyways guys, the reason I made this video is because I found this deleted thread on PrivacyTools.io. It's kind of a stupid subreddit in a lot of ways, and when I see people recommend this website, it always makes me wonder why. PrivacyTools.io is kind of a website that tries to collect all this useful information in terms of guides, and they have their subreddit as well. And part of PrivacyTools.io's kind of claim to fame is that it recommends you VPN services that are good, not the ones that aren't good. But it's ironic because anytime someone asks about the rankings or talks about VPN on their subreddit, they just go ahead and delete the thread and be like, hey, go to some other subreddit. We don't want to talk about VPNs. But then why do they have VPNs as a category on their website? Honestly, it just makes them look biased and not really like they want to talk about VPNs at all. In that case, they shouldn't recommend people to use any VPNs. Now, basically what I found here is this guy saying ExpressVPN is based in Hong Kong. China probably has access to it all. So this isn't necessarily true. Hong Kong is kind of a separate entity of China. However, it's becoming a little bit of a blurred line, especially with all the political protests and stuff going on there. China is definitely seeking to control Hong Kong by allowing Hong Kong to extradite people over to the Chinese border. So it's definitely a tense political situation, and you've probably heard about that already. This guy was mad and said it's based in the British Virgin Islands, don't spout bullshit. And this is true. Legally, ExpressVPN has put their company's kind of identity within the British Virgin Islands. Does this mean they have offices in the British Virgin Islands? No, it just means that's where they are on a piece of paper in terms of how they legally form the company's entity. This guy says, I lived in Hong Kong. I met them in many job fairs. They gloat about how many millions they make a year to attract young developers. Search for Jing Bao. That is how they call themselves there. And yes, they are ExpressVPN if you ask. So please don't spout bullshit. What happens here is the classical case of opening a legal entity in a country. They might even have a small office there, but the bulk of the hires is in Hong Kong. This guy says, you're right. I worked with some other people for a while, absolutely based in Hong Kong. Offshore for privacy purposes, for owners, not the customers. And this is something I think is true. The owners have put themselves in a good privacy location, especially for legal reasons, maybe tax reasons and stuff like this. But in terms of where the company is actually headquartered, where they have offices, where the company itself is kind of based out of, in terms of where the technology is coming from, that is going to be in Hong Kong. But let's go back a little bit when this guy's talking about Jing Bao. So he's saying that Jing Bao is the same company as ExpressVPN. If you look it up, this is their website, Jing Bao. And I looked up ExpressVPN on Google, ExpressVPN Jing Bao, and this is what I found. This guy posted an image showing a LinkedIn request for talent acquisition lead from Jing Bao based in Hong Kong. So in my opinion, this kind of wraps it up, saying that Jing Bao, ExpressVPN pretty much are the same thing. Jing Bao could be the parent company, that being ExpressVPN is the one under them, looking like they do pretty much have their headquarters in Hong Kong. I did a little bit more digging around on Reddit, and I also found that ExpressVPN had publicly come out to defend themselves when accused of this, and they said Chinese ownership and staff. ExpressVPN International Ltd is a privately owned British Virgin Islands company with staff located around the world. We are not owned or partly owned by any Chinese company, any Chinese citizen, or anyone ties to the Chinese government. ExpressVPN is run by individuals who created the company to fight for online privacy, security, and freedom. Having staff members in Hong Kong or anywhere else in the world for that matter is irrelevant. We're trusted by many thousands of users in China to provide reliable service. So it kind of brings up the question, can you trust a company that has staff in Hong Kong? That perhaps could be extradited to China? It's kind of a legal gray area in my opinion. Can you trust a company that has, I don't think I would want to have a company having such a presence in Hong Kong, being so close to China, even if they're not part of the Chinese government or anything like that, I still think it could be a cause for concern. Not only that, but I still think having headquarters somewhere and then having a legal jurisdiction somewhere else is also a little bit questionable as well. You know, why is that completely necessary? It's not like they're explicitly saying why. In fact, I actually did some digging around and found that other people's kind of had the same concern that I did. This is a pretty good written article by Slate, and what they talked about here is that some other people, like Wirecutter for example, decided not to rate ExpressVPN as their #1 VPN because they also had some similar concerns about their anonymity. You can see them talking about it right here. ExpressVPN, for its part, nearly won the coveted recommendation of Wirecutter in its extensive, highly detailed VPN review. There are hints throughout the Wirecutter report that ExpressVPN would have taken the top spot if not for one pesky concern: its refusal to publicly disclose who owns it. Wirecutter editor Mark Simernotis notes near the end of his review that ExpressVPN offered to arrange a confidential call with its owners, but he decided that it would not be enough to change his recommendation and decline. I honestly don't understand why ExpressVPN thinks its anonymity is so important, especially for its company owners and stuff like that. It's also interesting because this article mentions Jerome of the Center for Democracy and Technology is well acquainted with ExpressVPN, but when Slate asked him if he knows who runs it, he told them he apologetically couldn't comment. It's like, why is it so secret? Why can't everyone know? It would make the company more transparent. It would make people trust it more. And honestly, I don't think they would be in that much danger. And it says right here, when a VPN hides its owner's identities and incorporates in an offshore territory, it's usually because they're breaking laws, since Francis Dina, co-founder and CEO of OpenVPN. So OpenVPN itself is very reputable. Dina says he finds it far-fetched, however, that ExpressVPN could be linked to the Chinese government, more that the owners are keeping a low profile because the service is geared towards people pirating content or other illegal activity. So there's also, that could be a reason. However, again, other companies that own VPN do have more public ownership, so I don't think that's really a good enough reason. Interestingly enough, I did manage to find an image on some website showing pictures of ExpressVPN offices in Wang Chai, Hong Kong, which is, I guess, Jing Bao offices as well. So, I mean, it's not really denied that they have offices in Hong Kong. So I think the question then becomes, do you care if ExpressVPN has offices in Hong Kong? Do you care if they are using a company in the British Virgin Islands as their kind of legal entity, not necessarily maybe where the company is? I guess it's really up to you. ExpressVPN has had their say. Some people have their own opinion on this as well. So I'll kind of let you form your own opinion. But I think this was kind of worth looking into because I've seen people discuss it and ask me about it before. And that's just kind of my take on it. Personally, I don't think I would give ExpressVPN a perfect reputation when considering all these things. But I also don't think I would give it the worst reputation in the world. If there was proof they were based in China and not in Hong Kong, it would be an entirely different matter. However, given the fact that a large part of ExpressVPN's kind of marketing material is that they work within China and they are in Hong Kong, it does seem a little bit questionable to me. Mostly because Hong Kong does have a lot of ties to China, and I don't think that really can be denied. Anyways guys, thanks for checking out this video, and I'll see you again very soon.